Another Norfolk Southern train derails in Springfield, Ohio. Luckily, no hazardous materials were involved. A train derailment in Clark County Saturday evening prompted a heavy response from responders and authorities in the area. Approximately 20 cars of a 212 Norfolk Southern train derailed while traveling southbound in Springfield, Ohio, according to a spokesperson from the railway company. There were no hazardous materials involved. The Clark County Emergency Management Agency is asking residents within 1,000 feet of derailment to shelter in place. Those in need of travel to Route 41 are also being asked to find alternative routes. More than 1,500 residents reportedly lost power to downed power lines, according to Clark County EMA. No injuries were reported in the incident. The train had been hauling its dangerous cargo for days, winding its way through the heart of the country. Its passengers were not people, but a deadly concoction of chemicals, volatile and unpredictable. No one knew where the train was headed or what its ultimate destination was, but they all knew that it was carrying something that could spell disaster. The train derailed, its cargo spilling out into the ground like a deadly swarm of insects. The air was thick with the acrid scent of chemicals, and the ground was slick with an oily, viscous substance. People came running from all around, their faces twisted with fear and confusion. They knew that they had to act quickly before the situation got even worse. But as they approached the wreckage, they realized that they were in over their heads, and the chemicals were too dangerous, too volatile, too unpredictable. They were like a force of nature, wild and untamed, capable of wreaking havoc on everything in their path. And yet, despite the danger, there were those who dared to approach the wreckage, to get as close as they could to the source of the disaster. They were like moths to a flame, drawn in by the allure of the unknown. I watched from a distance, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew that I should stay away, that it was too dangerous to get any closer, but I couldn't help myself. There was something about the disaster that fascinated me, something that drew me in like a magnet. As I approached the wreckage, I felt a sense of unease. The air was thick with fumes, the ground felt slick and unstable beneath my feet, and yet despite the danger, I pressed on. It was like entering another world, a world of darkness and chaos. The chemicals were like a living, breathing entity swirling around me in a deadly dance. They seemed to be alive, pulsing with an energy that was both terrifying and exhilarating. And as I stood there gazing at the wreckage, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. It was like standing on the edge of the abyss, knowing that any moment I could be swallowed up by the darkness. But at the same time, there was something undeniably captivating about it. It was like staring into the face of the unknown, of the primal forces that lay just beyond the horizon. And yet, as I stood there, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. The chemicals were like a ticking time bomb ready to explode at any moment. They were like a manifestation of all the darkness and horror in the world, a reminder of the fragility of human existence. But despite the danger, I couldn't tear my eyes away from the wreckage. It was like a magnet, drawing me closer and closer until I was standing right in the middle of it all. And as I stood there, surrounded by the darkness and chaos, I couldn't help but feel a sense of reverence for the power and mystery of the world around us. It was like standing on the threshold of a new understanding, of a new way of seeing the world. The train had been a symbol of all this, a testament to the power and fragility of life itself. And as I turned to leave the wreckage behind, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe for the mystery and beauty of the world around us, even in its darkest moments. February 4th, 2023, residents of East Palestine, Ohio were woken up to the sound of a loud explosion. This was soon followed by the news of the city's makeshift dam, which caused a massive release of toxic chemicals, The incident was a catastrophic disaster that affected not just the residents of East Palestine, but the surrounding communities as well. East Palestine is a city located in eastern Ohio. It is home to about 4,000 residents, and the community heavily relies on its local water sources. The city's dam was built in the early 1900s. On the day of the incident, the region had been experiencing heavy rainfall for several days, causing the water levels in the dam to rise to unprecedented levels. The dam was unable to handle the pressure, and it eventually gave way, causing a massive release of water and toxic chemicals into the surrounding area. The chemicals were from a once previous train derailment on February 3rd or 6th, I can't remember. The impact of the dam collapse and the release of toxic chemicals was devastating. The waterways in the areas are at risk of being contaminated.